Hi everybody, Sean James here from My Self-Reliance, and today I'm talking to Camper Christina, and we're talking about winter camping in a teepee that she made from scratch herself with some help from her dad. And this is her hot tent setup for winter. It's quite cozy, as you can see, and we're just going to ask her a couple questions. We're talking about the cost of winter camping on some of the other videos in this series, and it's quite expensive to get a winter camp, or to get a winter camp setup, especially a hot tent. So Christina's created this hot tent from scratch with materials you can buy at a hardware store. So if you could tell us what materials you have here and approximately how much the total cost is that you have into the setup.
Well, the poles, they're steel poles. They're 10-foot steel poles that I got from Home Depot. I think they were about $8.97 a piece, so $10 a piece. Cost me about $100 for the poles.
So this is just electrical conduit, 1-inch or three-quarter-inch electrical conduit.
Yep. And the canvas is painter's drop cloth. I used 2 packages of the biggest that I could find. They were about $48 a package, and sewed them together to make a piece that was 12 feet by 30 feet, which is actually the base of the teepee. It runs 30 feet around the bottom. And the stove is from Princess Auto. It was $99 on sale. And just a lot of Velcro and thread, and that's about it, I think. The new material I just added is brand new. Cost me about $75. It's plastic coated canvas, and I put that on the bottom because I was having a problem with the snow sticking and ice freezing to the bottom and making big clumps, and folding up the tent and putting it away, it was really hard because it would get soaking wet. So I'm hoping that this solves that problem.
Yeah, it should, I think. So we're roughly 10 feet inside, maybe a little less, depending on the depth of the snow, how far the poles go down, I would imagine, and how far apart, of course, you have them. But yeah, it's a good amount of space inside. Some of the smaller, like 1- or 2-man tents, I find a little bit too cramped. Central stove is great, but because it's in the center, you have a little less flexibility as far as moving around. So I think the size works perfect for you. You were mentioning you're going to have somebody else in the tent with you next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a friend camping with me for the first time in the teepee. I'm going to do my first backcountry camp with it, and not going too far, but I'm going to give it a try and see how it works. So there'll be a bed on either side where we're sitting now, and during the day we'll just sit here and put the bedding on one side, and then we're done sitting for the evening, we put the bed out.
So notice you have 2 sleeping pads underneath you, a tarp, 2 sleeping pads, and two sleeping bags. Can you describe why you've done that and any other tips you have for staying warm at night?
It's just extra insulation. I've been told that you need a lot underneath you because I am laying right on the snow. I have the tarp to keep everything dry, and then I have 2 thermarests on top of each other just for some extra insulation. And on top of that, I have one of my older sleeping bags. It's a -5 jackalope skin that I use. And then my bag that I sleep in, which is either my Marmot -9 or my Marmot Extreme -40, depending on the weather and how cold it's going to be. So I haven't had any problems. I haven't been cold at all. So I guess it's working. I haven't tried it without, but I haven't needed to. So far, so good.
So you're taking somebody with you on your next trip, but you do a lot of solo trips as well. Tell me what the advantages and disadvantages are for you to be a solo camper.
I've always loved camping, but I didn't go for a very long time because I didn't have people to go with. A lot of my friends, they're not into it. They think I'm crazy. Who wants to go outside and camp in the snow, right? You don't know how much fun it is until you try it. It really is a lot of fun. So I have met some people on social media that I've been forming some bonds with to go camping with, who is one of the people I'm going with next weekend, Ashley from Young Outdoors. But generally I do trip by myself. There's a lot of reasons for that other than having somebody to find to go with. You also have to have a schedule that matches. You have to have the same availability. For me, now that I live in Muskoka, it's very easy for me just to pack up my stuff, and within 2 hours I can be on the road heading somewhere. I don't need to check with anybody or make sure that somebody's off work. I can go on my own schedule. I can do whatever I feel like doing whenever I feel like doing it, and it's really great. It's peaceful, and I really enjoy it. I was scared at first, but after a while, you get over the fear, and you just kind of start to enjoy it. And the peace and the solace is just outstanding. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I solo camp and do a lot of things in the outdoors solo for the same reason. Schedule is a big part of that, and ability is another one of the things. Not everybody wants to winter camp, as Christina said. So
Yeah.
if you want to go, you want to go, right? You don't want to wait for somebody else to get up to speed or
be a liability as well, right?
True.
I mean, you don't want to go out with somebody who isn't trained properly or doesn't wear the right clothing, and then they're a danger to you. You know, they put you in danger if they're not prepared or they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that brings up a good point too. Do you have any safety tips, or do you have a safety gear setup that you bring that's unique to you?
I do have a first aid kit that I bring. I bring a lot of extra things, extra clothes, several pairs of socks, a lighter I always keep tucked in my sports bra. You know, it sounds silly, but in the winter things react differently, and sometimes it's hard to get a lighter going. So just simple things like that. You just have to learn the tricks, and once you get them, you're good to go.
That's a good point. With the lighters too, I carry multiple lighters. You'll find them usually somewhere on my upper body in a jacket pocket or something. And I also have one in my pants, and then I have them stashed throughout my gear. You're already prepared to carry heavy gear, so bringing some nicer meals than a dehydrated meals like you would on a backpacking trip, for example. You don't have to do that. You can have proper meals. So, Christina, what do you like to do for meals in winter camping?
I like hearty food, you know, nice comfort food when I'm camping. Usually on a lazy Sunday or a weekday where I have some time, I'll cook up a bunch of food, like a roast, you know, a nice roast dinner with some pasta and some gravy. And I freeze them in little containers, and literally I just take them in here, I put them on the stove and pop it in the pot and heat it up. It's very simple. A lot of times it's hard, like Sean said, you know, you're out in the cold, your hands get cold, you're wearing gloves all the time. So it's hard to actually physically cook things up and, you know, crack eggs and make sure they're not frozen inside. I make omelets in advance, just put them in the pan and warm them up. Anything that I can do ahead of time really, really helps for me anyways.
Thanks again for watching. If you want to tune into Camper Christina's Facebook account, is it Camper Christina on Facebook as well?
CamperChristina.com on Facebook, CamperChristina.com on my blog, and at Christina Sherman on Twitter. But if you hashtag Camper Christina on Google, you can pretty much find anything of mine on there.
Great.
Bye-bye.